5-Minute Church. Welcome to Midweek Minutes. Hope you guys had an awesome week. We have been thinking about you. We've been praying for all of you. And thank you so much for just being patient with us. We have been obviously still grieving from the loss of my brother. And it's been a tough few weeks. I mean, it's like an emotional roller coaster I feel like I've been riding.
Yeah, dropped a couple kids off at college. We've been still grieving your brother's loss. We've been kind of redirected for 5-Minute Church and just realizing how big the problem is with depression and suicide and people that are struggling out there. We had no idea.
After we dropped our kids off at college, we were just driving back, and you had that time to think, and God was just really speaking to us about the loss of the suicide. We've had 2 suicides in my family in the last 6 months, a cousin and a brother, and it's rocked our worlds. And if you've struggled with death or even a suicide, it's a very difficult and challenging thing. But we're looking at the statistics, and we're not alone.
No, it's shocking.
Crazy.
The World Health Organization, this has been shocking us. The World Health Organization has said that over 1 million people a year worldwide commit suicide. And they say by 2020, that's going to be almost 2 million. 1 every 20 seconds. Right now it's 1 every 40 seconds, and 1 every 20 seconds people are killing their life. People are losing hope, and there's multifacets to that. And I don't think the church is really addressing all the things that are happening with the issue of depression and suicide and hopelessness.
It's true. And I mean, I was on social media and I was scrolling through Instagram, and I follow K-Love, which is a Christian radio station.
And their link is on our app.
Link is on our app, and I just think of all the many viewers that they have, or excuse me, the listeners that they have, and they posted something about depression. Had they had just said there's all different types of depression, but it was causes like chemically, they didn't, but it was like if you're struggling with your faith, and you're struggling with depression, that basically you didn't have enough faith, and here's 10 verses that you should read.
It's because you're not close to God.
You're not
That's
close enough to God,
said.
or you're not a good enough Christian, or you're not, or your faith isn't strong enough. And John,
we were shocked.
Lost it. And not only that, it wasn't just me. I was reading the comments that started going underneath, and it was just unbelievable. The people saying, or what about me who has a chemical imbalance in my brain, or this is crap, or I mean, all these things that were,
or your accident that was not even your fault, but a brain injury that you had.
Brain injury, and I had to chime in, and I don't normally, comment on something, but I said, this is ridiculous. And it kind of gave me that epiphany of like, this is where the church has lost it. And we've had, even when we talked about depression and suicide from the last midweek minute, we've been overwhelmed with people sharing their stories and who struggle with depression, and because we want to validate that your feelings are real, and it's a real thing, and we want to address this with 5-Minute Church, that we're not here to judge you, we're here to love you through this.
Yeah, and I had you screen cap because I said that's not going to stay up, that post.
No, and it was down. It was down. They took that one down. They got too many comments. But but that is the reality of what's wrong with the church and mental illness.
There are many causes. There are like 4 things that we want to look at, and if you're struggling with one of these, I want to just encourage you today. There's a spiritual dynamic when it comes to mental illness and depression. It is a spiritual battle. Our battle is not against flesh and blood. So no matter what you're going through, it's a spiritual battle. There are things that are happening around you.
I love how Joyce Meyer said it's the battlefield of the mind. Like it's a really cool, because that's the truth. That's a reality of what it is, and it's a spiritual battle in your mind.
Secondly, it can be chemical, caused by a number of different things, but our chemistry in the brain and the neurons and how they work, there's a chemical battle that goes on within us, and that's a part of depression. That's a part of the disease of people that are dealing with that as well.
And not only has this rocked my family, but me, and I don't know if you know the history of being in a car accident back in 2012 and suffering a brain injury. I know that it's not something you make up in your head. I almost lost my life to suicide because I gave up that battle, and it was the chemical imbalance. It wasn't my faith. That is the thing that I think people are missing. It wasn't my faith. My faith was rock solid. I've never been in a better place.
And sometimes when you're in the bottom, you're crying out so desperately, more than you've ever cried out before, and it's not helping the situation. Because the third thing is circumstantial. Life is hard. Life can bring you down. You can deal with circumstances in your life that are horrible to try to deal with and fight depression, whether it's loss or relationships breaking up, or you're just dealing with a job loss, or all these things can be circumstantial depression. That's an important thing we need to talk about.
I think when you have have these three, the spiritual, the chemical, and the circumstantial, what leads to that and to numb the pain is you either turn to alcohol and drugs. And I understand that, because you can escape your mind. The only way to turn your mind off and to escape is it's either prescription or illegal drugs. It doesn't matter what it is. That is a playing ground, and it's a very dangerous place, because that's where the devil can creep in. Your mind is compromised by the medication or the drug, and he comes in and takes over. And it's so scary, but it's the reality of it. And that number 4, once you get there, it was so cool when we were driving, and God was just like, that's where people are losing hope. You get here, and it's almost like you're done.
Yeah, I always like to think of it as this door to your soul, that when you open it up through, you lose control of your mind, or through, drugs or alcohol. I mean, I know we've done some deliverance where people have actually had demons inside them because they've opened the door through drug use, through illegal drug use. But whether you're a doctor or a dealer, when we lose control of our mind, that can be a conduit for Satan. Not all the time, but it can be opening yourself up to strongholds that the enemy, I believe, could come in and even wreak more havoc in your life where you're already struggling.
It's very true, and I struggled through the same thing, as I was rehabilitating from the car accident, and they had me on a very high dose of a medication, and it seemed like it was awful. I was not in my right mind. I knew that I was not me, but not only that, I woke up every night at 3 a.m. with a horrible nightmare, scream. I mean, it was awful, like every night at 3 a.m. And one night, that last night that I woke up, I realized I have to get off of this. The enemy is trying to creep in and take control of my mind, and it's a scary place. And I realize that, and I mean, that's very dangerous, and that's where I think people are struggling and losing that battle.
Yeah. So we want to encourage you guys that this is a spiritual battle. We're trying to encourage you every day. Keep fighting. Don't give up. And if you're having issues with chemical issues, you may need help. There's natural products out there. There's a lot of things that you can do, exercise and turmeric and all these things that we're going to be sharing more with down the line as well, because we really feel passionate about what God's calling us to do. And then there's circumstantial stuff. Don't give up. We're here for you. Keep plugging into 5MinChurch, and then don't numb the pain. And so we're just wanting to encourage you guys in that today.
It's so true. And not only that, we have a 1-800 number on our app, on the Get Help button, that you can go to. And we love you guys so much. And if you're going through depression or you're struggling through something, we want you to know that we're here. We are standing behind you, and reach out to us, because 24 hours, we want to be here for you. So we love you, 5MinChurch. Hope you guys had an awesome week, and we will see you guys next week.
God bless you.
It's too broken.